Okay, assalamu alaikum. Hello everybody, hope you are well. Just a quick sound check. Can everybody hear me? Let me try and check my comments. Okay, can somebody just put in the comments, let me know if you can hear me or not. Salam everyone. Excellent, you can hear me. All right, brilliant. Okay, so thank you so much everybody for coming on. So this is a new initiative I'm trying to get underway. As you can see, I've put little presentation here using LogSync, just in case anybody hasn't seen the description about what this is going to be about. Basically, the idea is to do a regular live stream, which will allow people to come on and just share any thoughts or insights they have of the Quran. So any verses, any surah, anything at all that you think is worthwhile sharing, which you've thought about, please do come on and just let us all know. So of course it's just starting. We're not probably in the beginning. We're not going to have that many people sharing or discussing or bringing stuff. But I'm hoping that if we can get this rolling, and eventually within maybe 6 months or a year, maybe even, once the word is out, this could be a place where people could feel comfortable coming online and just taking the mic and saying, "Look, hey, Khalid," or my name is Khalid for those who don't know. Here is this verse in the Quran, and I had this thought about it. This is this, and just share it with everybody. What I'll try not to be doing is to criticize or anything anybody's insight that they've had in the Quran. Of course, the Quran is much bigger than all of us, all right? And somebody might have an insight which it might not resonate with you, but it might be something which is part of the verse, but you just don't see it. It just depends on everybody's thing, and the Quran talks about, that has this imagery of how the water comes gushing down from above, and it fills different valleys according to their depth, according to their ability. And so we all have different abilities and different aptitudes in life. There are some people, for example, who can't appreciate poetry much. Okay, so it just goes beyond their heads, whereas other people can. Some people can appreciate the beauty in mathematics and the imagery and symbolism in that, much more abstractly. What I don't want to do is make it into something where somebody comes along and says, I think this such and such about the verse, and then even myself or another viewer comes along and says, no, that's ridiculous, or tries to belittle their understanding in any way. I just like it to have a way of encouraging anybody and everyone to start just reading the Quran for themselves and understanding what they can from it, and bringing this forward into their lives. So that's the general idea behind this. I'll try to do it as often as I can. So if you look, I've put here in this the format generally. I'm going to have it where it will be, me sharing something in the beginning, opening 10-20 minutes. Then and the floor is yours. Anybody who wants to come on, as you can see right now, if you check the chat, you will see that there is a link to be able to join the room. You don't have to turn on your camera or anything. I don't. And just to let you know, the reason why I don't is because, I will start doing so once I get back to the UK. But right now I'm in a sort of a hot place in the Middle East, so I'm not too keen about putting my face out there. So that I just don't want to get bring to myself any trouble from various people here who have in the past and in places I've seen them. They'll try to threaten anything which they don't like. So that's the reason for that. But you can come on if you want to, turn on your camera. You can. If you want to just have voice, you can. Absolutely no problem. So that will be it for around 40 minutes. Anybody who has something can say it and come on. In the meantime, or at the end, there will be a quick meet and greet. So, for example, in the beginning, I might not expect that many people to come on with an insight. So it can just be anybody who wants to come on and talk and discuss things together. I'm totally cool with that. And we'll try to keep it all up to an hour. So if we can have, for example, if 10 minutes, I share something, 10 minutes at the end, some meet and greet, 40 minutes in between of anybody coming on. And that will be fluid depending on how, especially that middle chunk, which is the important part, I think, the 40 minutes of allowing anybody else to come on. That can fluctuate and can be bigger or shorter. Generally we'll shoot to try and close it off in about an hour, hour and 15 minutes, and that should be all good. In Ramadan, so for Ramadan, I'm going to try to do a few more just to try to start strongly. If there's anything which I would like to share, I will just come along and I'll just start a stream. Maybe I'll schedule it in an hour in advance, so then people can come on. But it will mostly be for me just to share something, which I felt would be nice to share, just to try and have a strong start in Ramadan. So with that being said, let me share at least something with you today. Do I have it? I'm just starting to learn to use this log sync, which is a note-taking app. So the first thing which I thought would be a good way to start is this verse here. Okay, so this verse is in Surah 7, verse 46. It doesn't say so here, but I should probably put that in. The verse says, قل إنما أعظكم بواحدة بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل إنما أعظكم بواحدة أن تقوموا لله مثنى وفرادى ثم تتفكروا ما بصاحبكم من جنة إن هو إلا نذير لكم بين يدي عذاب شديد. So it says, imagine this, that you are being asked to give just a single piece of advice. What would it be? Okay, so this is one of the insights you can take from the Quran, that if anybody in the world was asking you for some advice to become guided to what is it all about, what advice would you give him to sort of set them on their way, in the right way, in their religious life and in general. Okay, and the answer is given here. Say, okay, إنما أعظكم بواحدة. I will give you just one single piece of advice. Okay, this one piece of advice, it will cover all and it will set you in the right way, and you will find your way after that. And that is أن تقوموا. Now, تقوموا means to stand up or to devote yourself or to be steadfast. So, like for example, in the Quran, it always talks about الذين هم بشهاداتهم قائمون. Those who in their witnessing, they stand up. They stand up for the truth. They witness for the truth. كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالقسط. Be those who stand up for God, witnesses for justice. Okay, so it means تقوموا لله means that you stand up and be like, you stand up for God. You don't stand up for anything else. Don't stand up for your sect. Don't stand up for atheism. Don't stand up for science. Stand up for God. Okay, stand up for the truth. Okay, and then what? How? Methna aw furada. Okay, either singularly, in pairs, or singularly. Now, this is the interesting part. It says either you come together and think and ponder, either together in twos, two people together, or by yourself, not more than two. Okay, and this is the interesting part, which is the psychology which is behind this verse. Okay, it's telling you to stand up and to think, stand up for God and ponder deeply, but do so either by yourself or with one other person only. Don't go and do it with two other people or three or four. Okay, now of course you can do that, and that's fine, but we're talking about here one single piece of advice. Okay, one piece of advice, okay, that can set you straight. And that is, you either do that by yourself or in two. Now, why is that? Because as soon as you you become a group, it becomes not just two people, but a group, three or more. Okay, the dynamic changes. suddenly a lot of the sincerity goes out. Okay, so if you can have three people, imagine in your mind three people, usually you'll have one person who's more dominant, a more dominant character, you know, somebody who maybe the other two, one of the other two admires, or one of the other two feels jealousy towards, or something. There'll be issues there. Okay, the dynamic will not be just one person speaking to another person where the brunt of the thought will be about the topic. Okay, now it's suddenly somebody says something, should I side with him or should I side with the other person? Okay, or two of them are more friendly with each other, so they stick together more. And you see that all the time in any kind of dynamic where there are people who are debating something. Okay, if you watch any of these debates on like Speaker's Corner or places like this, okay, as soon as you have a bunch of people, let's say you have five people together and they are discussing with one person, okay, it'll be very difficult for that one person, okay, even if he's right, to convince all of these five people, because each one, while they are listening, okay, while they are listening to that person, they are also have an eye listening to their fellows, and when they speak, they wonder what their companions, their friends will say. Okay, so the wisdom behind this is that you should just either think by yourself, okay, by yourself, or one other person whose intellect and thought process you can trust. Okay, and in that way, it minimizes the distractions. It minimizes everything. And this is what the Greeks of old used to do, if you remember. Okay, so you have the Plato and Socrates. You'd have basically they would have dialogues, right? The famous dialogues of Plato and Socrates, where it's just two people discussing, right? And they'll give each other questions to test each other's ideas. So the person will say, "You have this idea, okay? Then what about this?" And you ask him some questions, and the other person answers, or the other way around. So that's I think it's a very interesting thing. But this is something practical which you can take forward with you into the world, to anybody around you, at work, at school, wherever. If they were to ask you, okay, you're a Muslim and you're devoted and you think the Quran is true and everything like this, so you know, give me one piece of advice. What are you going to say to them? Well, you have the answer over here. Okay, you say to them, قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَعِظُكُمْ بِوَاحِدَةٍ. Okay, that you stand up for God, either by in pairs with one other person, or by yourself, and then think deeply. Okay, really think deeply. And what's also given here is a subject for thought, for contemplation. Ma bisahibikum min jinnah. Okay, to consider that the Prophet Muhammad is not somebody who's crazy. Okay, he doesn't have a madness. Okay, just consider that. Okay, think of that. Okay, and think of the possibility that he really is a warner for us before a punishment which is to come. Okay, so that's something I thought I'd share in this first caravan. The other thing I thought, I just added this just now really because I thought, okay, Ramadan is coming up, let me add something else. Now Ramadan, of course, the object for Ramadan is to achieve taqwa. All right, so taqwa, if you look in the Quran, you'll find that taqwa is often, very often, linked with birr. Okay, so I thought, okay, let's look at this, the famous verse of birr. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب. Right, righteousness does not. It does not mean, it's not that you turn your faces towards the east or the west. Okay, but righteousness is, and it describes all the rest of these different qualities. Okay, now the important thing here is right at the end, because right at the end it says أولئك هم المتقون. Those are the people who have taqwa. In here the translation it says the pious. I recommend always, as much as you can, try to. I wish some of these translations would just keep some of the Quranic words as they are. So then people would start to understand what they are, because sometimes they'll translate taqwa as piety, sometimes as righteousness. Okay, and the Quran is very specific. When it says taqwa, it means taqwa. When it says salah, it means salah. Okay, so it says ulaika humul muttaqun. Ulaika hum al muttaqun. So in trying to gain taqwa, there are, those who do these things are considered of the muttaqun. But how did they get there? And this is where the interesting thing, because one of the parts which people ignore, well, not ignore, but they don't really think of, is the phrase just before it. It says أولئك الذين صدقوا. Okay, أولئك الذين صدقوا. Okay. Now it doesn't say ulaika humul sadiqun, and it doesn't say those are the truthful ones. Okay. It doesn't say that those are the truthful and those are the muttaqeen. No, it says those are the ones who were truthful, who were truthful. Sadaqu here is in the past. Okay. So in the let me see in the translation, what does it say? These are the sincere. So I say these are the sincere, but really it should say these are the ones who were sincere. So let me change that. These are the ones who were sincere. Were sincere or were honest. Now, why is that important? Why am I mentioning that specifically? Because um, you will also find that sidq, honesty, is related to taqwa a lot in the Quran. But the reason why is because it's saying to you here at the end of this, after all of this, it's telling you that these people, because of their sincerity, because of their truthfulness, they were able to gain, to be of the abrar, to have bir. Okay, so it's almost like it's telling you, okay, they had sidq first, then bir, which is described as all of these things. Okay, and because of that they were of the muttaqeen. And this fits in quite nicely as well with one of the, it's a famous hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as I've mentioned many times, I'm not somebody who rejects the hadiths. It has to mirror the Quran. And this is exactly, I look at this verse and the hadith which is related to it as the Prophet actually gaining that insight directly from this verse, because he said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, alaykum bit taqwa, sorry, alaykum bis sidq. I enjoin upon you to have sidq, to be truthful. Why? Because the sidq yahdi ila al bir. Because sidq, okay, it will guide you to bir, okay, and then bir will guide you to Jannah. All right. So this is exactly taken from this verse, because this verse says ulaik ladina sadaqu in the past, okay, in the past, even before mentioning all of these, because these are not in the past, okay. Um, so these are talking about those who who give, who aqamu salah, who all, do all of these things. But before they did all of this, they had sidq. Sidq brought them to bir, and then bir is the outward manifestation of taqwa. That is one of the outward manifestations of taqwa. So that's basically it. That's just a little thing which I thought I'd share. And I'm hoping that these are the sort of things that people will be able to come on. Well, it doesn't have to be like this. It could be, of course, much better than this. The people will be able to come on and share with us, and we'll be able to benefit from them. So that's basically all I have now. This is, of course, this first one is not going to be an hour long. It was just supposed to be an introduction, just to lay the groundwork. And I thought at the end I'd share something with you. If anybody would like to come on now, you have the link to join me. Sorry about the doors opening and closing. The link is right there in the chat. If anybody would like to come on and join me, I'd really love to have you on. And you could talk about these verses or any other verses, or just discuss something. I'll probably end the stream in about 10-15 minutes if nobody else would like to come on. So anybody willing to come on, even just to say hello? Let me put that into the chat as well. Or if anybody has actually some suggestions, you can type them also into the chat. Any suggestions on how to do these streams? It doesn't have to be the format which I've envisioned here, but if somebody has a better idea, I'd love to hear that. Also, if you could maybe also tell me which times are best for you. I'm in GMT +4 time zone, so I'm going to be trying to do it usually around this time, same time as now. I'll start at around 5 o'clock my time, and hopefully I'll be able to get, like I said, I want to do it on Saturdays, mainly because Saturdays is a weekend where I am, and a weekend in most of the rest of the world. Sunday is not, Okay, Sunday here is a work day. So I will try to do it on Sunday sometimes, just because I know most of the audience, they have Sunday as the part of the weekend, and they are mostly free on Sundays. So I'll try, if I can, sometimes to do it on the evenings, but always it will be scheduled at least a day in advance. So there'll be plenty of time for anybody who would like to, set the reminder, and if they have something to share, they can come on and share with us, and would be very grateful for that. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about this. This is a pretty good. I don't know if anybody's into note-taking apps, but this is a new note-taking app which I've discovered. I usually use Evernote. I have a bunch of notes on my Evernotes, but these LogSync is a pretty new one, and it's all browser-based. Uses Markdown file format, and you can save it into your computer, but it's browser-based, and it allows things to be linked in a very interesting way. You can start to create your own sort of Wikipedia and what's called a personal knowledge management system, PKM. Another one is a very good one to use is Obsidian, and they're really, really good. If you ever heard of this concept of building your second brain, that's what these things can help with. A lot of people, thank you. Let me show this comment. So Alex, thank you for that. It says, Salam. I think, love the idea of the live stream. I think a lot of people are at work in the US on Mondays. Yeah, I know on Mondays. I mean, right now for you guys, it is Monday, I know. But this is replayable, so they can watch it again. I'm going to be doing it, like I said, generally on Saturdays or Sundays. It's just introducing it just because it's right before Ramadan. So I want to get this started now. So yeah, somebody said, just want a quick comment on your most recent video, God's Endgame, and how inspiring thought it was. Yeah, thank you very much for that. It was actually a video which I recorded quite a while ago, but it took a while to figure out how it sort of started to expand after. It was going to be just a simple one where I was just going to be me talking, and then I was going to just put in the verses, and that's it. But then I thought, let me add in a few other things to sort of help sort of get the points across and just add things into it. Wa alaikum assalam, Alif Muhammad. Sorry, what was that again? Hearing the insights of the various people whose perseverance and the way Allah encompasses this grand universe was awe-inspiring. Yes, I think it is as well. I put in a few extra comments in the pinned comment on that video. Because there were some people who found that video challenging. I mean, these videos which I do are more like sort of video essays almost. So they do take a bit of thought, and it was mostly about what isn't God's end game rather than what it was. So I had people ask me, okay, so what is exactly God's end game? Well, that's the point, is that we're not so sure what it is, but I can have some good guesses about what it isn't. Thank you for that. All right, okay. So I think if nobody wants to come on, I'll end the stream now, and other people will be able to see this replayed later. It's come up to almost 30 minutes, so that's good enough for the first time as an introduction. So please, anybody, if you can, just spread the word to anybody who you know. If you know anybody, for example, who thinks a lot on the Quran, or who has a lot of insights in the Quran, ask them to come on. Ask them to come on, or if they don't feel like coming on, take whatever insights they've provided, and bring them on yourself, and share them with us. We'd really love to hear them. Like I said, I mean, this is the first one. We're just starting off. But I'm hopeful that, if I do this regularly and we start off strongly in Ramadan, then, by this time next year in Ramadan, I wonder how this sort of caravan will look like. Hopefully, we'll have a lot more people coming on and just sharing constantly different insights. I'm hoping to find, the backstage here filled with people who want to come on, and I won't be able to host them all, and then maybe somebody else will start something similar. So that would be grand. That would be amazing. Again, thank you all, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on. And like I said, please try to spread this. Let anybody know for next time. The next one will definitely be, there will definitely be one on either Saturday or Sunday, the upcoming Saturday or Sunday. But even during this week, I may do a few extra ones just because, like I said, it's Ramadan. Okay. So, assalamu alaikum, everybody. Take care. God bless you all.